Good evening. We meet again for the Halloween season. This year, I'm going to take you on a wild adventure for this review. Because this year, I have a very special treat for all of you. Let me take you back to 2010. Exactly on August 1st. At exactly midnight, I went to a midnight screening of the movie I'm going to review. And it became a tradition for me every year, August 1st. At exactly midnight, I watch this exact movie. And now I get to review it, as I have seen it over a dozen times. Yes. I'm of course talking about the cult classic, The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Let us begin. Okay, so this movie is pretty much a musical spoof of Frankenstein, which follows Brad, asshole, and Janet, word I can't say because it's shameful. And they are a engaged couple. They just got engaged, and they're driving down the road, and they get a flat. And so they find shelter at a castle. And so at the door they meet Magenta and Riff Raff, two brothers and a brother and a sister. Magenta obviously being a maid, and Riff Raff being this version of Igor. And so begins the time warp again. And after the number is over and the guests are done dancing, Janet says, "Oh, Brad, I'm so scared." And Brad's trying to calm her down, like, hey, they're just foreigners with ways different than our own, just having a celebration. It's harmless. As soon as I can, I'll ask this to get a phone. And then there's a figure coming down an elevator. And it's revealed who it is. The owner of the castle, Dr. Frankenfurter. Now, when I was little and I first saw the movie It, with the original It from the 90s, I was scared of clowns because of Pennywise. Little did I know that same exact actor was Ben Ravencroft from Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, Hexus from Fern Gully, Professor Calamitous from Jimmy Neutron, Nigel Thornberry from the Wild Thornberries, and the creepy concierge from Home Alone 2 was also this guy. This is the guy I was afraid of. So anytime I see this face,
Aren't you gonna say hello?
I'm not going to see a scary serial killer. I'm going to see him for what he is.
Do you have Prince Albert in a can? You do? Well, you better let the poor guy out.
A clown. This clown has a name. His name is Tim Curry. And so Frank invites Brad and Janet up to his lab. And that's when you meet the title character, Rocky Horror, who weirdly enough can't talk, but he can sing. What? Okay, go with it. Then Brad and Janet are escorted to their rooms where they can dry up and, get ready while dinner's being prepared. And Riff Raff lets Rocky go. Meanwhile, Frank goes and seduces not only Janet, but Brad. And then, well, this happens.
Roughly has broken his chains and vanished. The new playmate is loose and somewhere in the castle.
Riff Raff, can you piss off? I'm trying to score here. And so, after that, Janet feels bad that she cheated on Brad, and then she goes and sees the security footage, and it shows that, well, Brad cheated too. So she ends up sleeping with Rocky, and which leads to a song called "Creatures of the Night," and well, it's pretty much a massive fever dream. Too close to the camera there, Tim. Back up.
Can I spin a yarn or what?
Yes, you can spin a yarn. No, please back up. Please. And then after Riff Raff gets a whipping from Frank, they find Rocky and Janet together. And it leads to this very weirdly... Just watch.
Janet! Ah! Rock!
Bullwinkle! Anyway, so he turns everyone into statues. And then, for some reason, they go on to put on a show for absolutely no one. And then Riff Raff and Magenta come out and say, "Doctor, we're going back to transsexual without you." Then they kill Frank, then kill Rocky, and then they go back to transsexual, which is the name of their planet. And the universe of Transylvania. Seriously, this movie is bonkers. But overall, that's pretty much the story, because it's pretty much told from the perspective of an investigator that is recalling pretty much a police statement of what happened. Brad's statement, Janet's statement, Dr. Scott's statement, and he's pretty much saying, and so there you have it. The Rocky Horror incident. And, well, that's where the story ends. Right after the account is over. After everyone's gone, Brad, Janet, and Dr. Scott can go on their way. And it's pretty much open-ended. Yeah, this movie is absolutely freaking bonkers. But you gotta love it. One, because Tim Curry brings it in every performance he does. Alright, so Brad, he's pretty much a straight man. Basic male character. He's engaged to Janet. And Janet, yeah, she kind of explores her sexuality with Rocky. But other than that, she's just, like Brad, she's just there to give weird reactions to what's going on. And they do not disappoint, because there's a lot that happens where I'm surprised they can keep their composure because of the absolute insanity happening in front of them. Especially being around Tim Curry, of all people. I mean, how would you react if you saw a guy dressed in black lace and leather singing about how he's a sweet transvestite? The investigator put it best when he said that this would be a night that Brad and Janet will not forget for a very long time. Well, no frickin' shit. They crossed over into the twilight zone of absolute batshit insanity. So of course they're not going to forget this for a long time. And Frank, I guess you could say he's the villain, even though the most villain thing he does besides killing Eddie, which is Meatloaf's character, is he seduced Brad and Janet. But other than that, he was just a doctor trying to make a creation before he was killed by Riff Raff. To be fair, he whips Riff Raff for letting Rocky go, but anything can happen to Rocky. Anyone would have that reaction. What I didn't like was Meatloaf was killed off within 3 minutes of screen time. I mean, I'm not a fan of Meatloaf, But when you have a powerhouse voice like his, and you only use him for one scene where you kill him, and I just think it's way too convenient that Dr. Scott is Eddie's uncle. Like, I mean, I get it's for plot convenience, but again, that's way too, that's an unbelievable coincidence. It's just way too convenient. And of course, Riff Raff is kind of an asshole. Alright, so final thoughts. If you haven't seen this movie, I suggest you watch it, because it is batshit insanity in all the right ways. And this was Tim Curry's his very first movie. Because before this movie, he was just a regular blues singer. He was a singer, just a singer, not an actor. Until he was offered this role, discovered he had a passion for acting, and then I think he made one last album, just making music, and then quit music, and then went into acting. And the only time he ever sang was for his roles, which, I mean, with a voice like his, you just can't help but spread the toxic love. And of course, nowadays, whenever I watch his version of It, I just can't help but laugh, because his version of Pennywise is a laugh riot. So that is my review of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Oh, I must leave you again. I will see you next week. Till then, stay positive and stay very awesome, everyone. And be safe out there. Happy Halloween.